A number of our writers over on the website recounting the best team they've ever seen. They had to be there. They had to witness it in person. Steve Nicol and Ali Moreno with us to give us their best teams. Stevie, you've seen more than most. What was the best?
Thank you, Dan. I would have to say the West Germany team in 1986 that lost in the final, the World Cup, to Argentina, and of course Maradona. I mean, at the time, we played against them with Scotland in one of the group stages, and at the time, you know, you're concentrating on what you've got, and you're not really concentrating on the opposition. But once it's all said and done and over with, if you go through that side, you talk about, I mean, a team with goals. You get a choice of 2 out of 3 of our lofts. Rudi Völler and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who Rummenigge didn't even start against us. Quality in the middle of the park. Felix Magath, what a left peg. And of course Lothar Matthäus, who could do everything, including getting in the box and scoring goals. And to balance that off, you've got Pierre Littbarski, who was the old man of that side at the time, but been there, seen it, done it. And defensively, I mean, you talk about strength and power and also ability. You know, 2 centre-backs in Augenthaler and Karl-Heinz Foster, who at the time were as good as anybody in the world. Right back, Thomas Berholt, just a lovely football player. In goals, Harold Schumacher, obviously better known for his crazy challenge on Battiston. And to finish off, a guy at left back called Hans-Peter Briegel, who really the Terminator was modelled around. This guy was absolutely huge. I mean, people talk about when you're stripped, you strip bigger. Well, this guy was 6'2", and he looked 6'6". I mean, this team was just incredible. As I said, they got goals, they got ability in the middle of the park, and then defensively, you talk about strength and power, and obviously they could play as well. So, I mean, what a side. Not a chink in the armour, in my opinion, and we're really unlucky to lose that World Cup final to Argentina.
Meanwhile, Ali, you going earlier or later than 1986?
I am going later than 1986, and it really, I had my choice of being a spectator and watching France in 1998 and Brazil in 1998, both of whom then met in the final. But it is much more impressive when you actually get to see these teams, not from the stands, but at field level. And I got the opportunity to watch Brazil for a very comfortable seat on the bench with the Venezuelan national team. In the 2005, it was World Cup qualifier for the 2006 World Cup. And it was a powerful realization for the first time in what was, at that point for me, a young and up-and-coming career, when you thought you could play against anybody and you could prepare and you could do your best and you could improve as a player, and then you could stare at the eyes of anybody in the world and go against those teams and be successful. This was a powerful realization of saying to yourself, yeah, they're just better than you. They're simply better than you. And no matter what you do, even if you're at your very best, this team could simply destroy us if they wanted to. And so the talent across the field, I had to look it up because I remember watching it. I was right there, but I had to look it up just from confirmation. And it's a who's who of players, historic players for Brazil. It's Cafu down the right-hand side, it's Lucio center back. Then you had Roberto Carlos down the left-hand side. In the midfield, in an advanced position out of the midfield, it would be Kaká, Ronaldinho, Adriano, Ronaldo. And then coming off the bench was Robinho, who at that time was a real player, not what he became later on in his career. And so it was talent everywhere. And again, a powerless feeling from a player's perspective in understanding that you can do everything that you were asked to do by your manager and in the preparation for the match. I remember a sequence of play where the ball was being played from one side of the back line to the other. We shifted across as a team. We looked good. We were solid. The lines were where they needed to be. And without any sort of space, Roberto Carlos on one step hits a 60-yard ball all across the field over to Cafu, who's streaking down the right-hand side. And you're thinking to yourself, well, hold on a second. We just did everything that we were asked to do. They broke through us, and now we're panicking. Now we're chasing shadows, and it happened time and time again. And oh, by the way, when they got forward, they had the talent that I just mentioned. You just think, you know what? Our best simply cannot compete with this. And that, for a professional player, that's hard to take, but it was easy to understand that they were simply better than what we were.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.